Hello, everyone. Jak Syn here on behalf of Fiend.com and Future Daze, and today it's another exciting episode of Artist Interviews. Today I'm sitting with Haley Stewart of Mecha Maiko. How are you doing today, Haley?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's great to hear. Pretty good. Oh man, it's a nice sunny day here in LA. I know for you, it looks like it's a little cloudy over there. How's that going?
It's very cold. It is unseasonably cold right now. So, you know, I'm wearing a sweater, keeping warm, doing the best I can.
Wow, I'm getting hot just looking at that sweater. The temperature it is here. It's like 80. It's like 80 degrees outside right now, but
Oh my God.
yeah, it
I'm
is warm.
jealous.
It is warm. So today I'm going to ask you a few questions and see where it goes from here. Are you ready to do this?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's get into it. What are three of your most memorable moments during your musical career?
Okay, well, that's a very big question because, there's so many, but I think I'd have to say my very first show that I ever did was definitely memorable because it was my first ever show. Parallels invited me to play at House of Targ in Ottawa, and I'd never been on stage before. I'd never sung in front of an audience before, so it was a completely new thing for me. And I had so much low-end feedback in my monitors that I had no idea what I was doing. I couldn't hear anything that I was doing. But I went up and just tried to make the best of it, and it was really fun. A second super memorable experience would be playing Neon, which was basically the show that got me to start performing live to begin with. So they had extended an invitation for me to play. So that first show of mine in Otto was kind of my practice show, so I could just see what it was like, because it's kind of like a pretty huge event to play as your first show if it was just the festival. But honestly, the most memorable part about that was just getting to spend a few days with Betamax, Nick, and driving from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia to play a show, and then driving through New York and then to Rhode Island for Neon. So just being around so many different, just suddenly finding this hidden family that you never knew you had was so awesome. And finally seeing so many faces that I had only ever seen on the internet, all kind of congregating to this one place, was super awesome. It felt like a weird family reunion for a family you didn't know you had. It was nice. My third most memorable would probably be a tie between Outland in Toronto, which I know is annoying because Dana has already said the same thing, but Outland was super memorable just because, again, of all the time I got to spend with Sean FM Attack. He came and crashed on my pull-out couch, and we had a blast. A really intense, long day, but it was awesome. So yeah, sorry, this is a cheap answer because it's a tie. It's tied with VHS Vision because the guys who run that are awesome, and they take care of their artists so well, and they're totally doing it purely out of love, and it shows. They do an amazing job, and it was the coolest. It's weird to think that people anywhere listen to my music, but especially weird to think that people who speak a different first language than listen to my music. So it was a very strange experience, but very, very nice.
Those are some great memorable moments. And you know what? You really do feel that love in this scene. from all different walks of life. It's a very big rainbow of people that are really connected with this and its sound. And when you do spend time with the artists, you really do that. You really do feel that sense of family, that sense of community. Everybody's very, very friendly. Everybody's really, really very connected together. And it's just great to see that. Earlier when I was mentioning about the rainbow, it's like everybody who comes out, everybody who comes to these events, it is like a family. It is like one big, huge family, and with a very diverse family. I know we see it a lot here in LA with a lot of events that are out here. We do see that big rainbow of people, and you'll have people who are into hip hop, people who are into like techno or like heavy metal or whatever, but they're all united under this common love for this style of music. And it's not cheesy that, you mentioned Outland, even though Dana did mention it. Michael Oakley mentioned it as well, in one of his earlier interviews. And one of the other interviews that we did, I did one with Holly Parallels, and she mentioned that as well. Some of her most memorable moments, So that's really, really great to hear. What would you say is your favorite album/EP that you've worked on?
Well, I guess it has to be my newest one because, usually I get really sick of the things that I put out immediately afterwards because by the time it comes out, I've listened to everything like 9 million times and I don't want to hear it. I don't want to sing it. I don't want to perform it ever. But this last album, Let's, was really fun to work on. It was a chance to kind of get into a more upbeat, really kind of more techno influenced, like dance poppy influenced album that I didn't really hold back on. And it was especially cool working on it with other people because I haven't really collaborated that heavily, like that much, since our Dead Astronauts days. So I kind of was just mixing everything at home, which, this is not set up really for mixing at all. So to be able to work on it with Oro, we actually had access to a proper recording studio and a console and engineers and like a million vintage synths. So it was like a very fairy tale experience to be able to work on it with such experienced, passionate people and just have so much support for the vision that I had. So it was like I got to do all the fun stuff. Like I got to do like 90% of it at home alone, and then all of the very important like finishing touches and tweaks to the songs to make them better happen with them. And honestly, it was just like, I don't know how else to put it. It was like going to like Disneyland or like going to a spa. It was like a very pampering experience. I was like, wow, this is some Britney Spears shit. I don't know.
That's great. I mean, you're comparing it to Disneyland. Disneyland's one of my favorite places. We love going to Disneyland. Unfortunately, we can't go right now because it's all closed, but we love to go all the time. But yeah, that's great that you got that kind of experience from working in the studio. It just kind of blows it all up and makes it that much larger than some of the home stuff. Because a lot of musicians and artists and stuff like that, a lot of us are DIY. We do a lot of stuff from home. We work a lot on our things that we have here. But when you get into a studio and you get that time in there, you can really traverse down some really awesome roads. And your album, Let's, great album, high energy, love it. Got some really great sound in there. And you know what? Congratulations on the newest music video you put out for Phones.
Oh, thank you. That was that's another weird like synthwave family collab thing, because Judge Bitch made that video. Like, he directed it, he found all the people. So another also new retro wave roster artist who I met at a Perturbator show. Like, I don't know, we hung out all night and then stayed in touch, and he did a really great video for Trash Pandas. So then after that, I asked if he wanted to collaborate. So again, it's like another nice little like family collab weaving tale. So thank you.
You know, it's great to see artists helping other artists, because that's at the end of the day, that's what it's really all about. It's about artists coming together and assisting other artists and helping those artists grow in this community that we have. And it's really great to see that interconnectivity between everybody, and everybody just seems so welcoming and so inviting. So it's great to see that vision came to fruition in that video, and it's really high energy. I mean, it's kind of funny to watch it, you know what I mean, because it's so DIY, and it's just so like it's shot very guerrilla style, but it's got this really funny, quirky story to it that you really see in the video. So everybody out there, be sure to check out that music video for Phones from Mecha Maiko. It is really awesome. You're gonna love it. What was the drive behind getting you into making music and performing live?
Well, there's definitely a drive to make music. It was just kind of like a hobby that I had for a long time, that I wouldn't really like share that much or just write for fun. Then I started posting on SoundCloud. I'm not really sure. I just kind of always had a drive to be working on something. I joke that as a kid I was already writing like shitty poems, so I should just write some shitty songs as well. But I guess the drive strictly for performing was just when I realized that there was a demand for it. Like, music for me has always been something that I felt a drive to do, regardless of like if anybody listened to it or not. So to finally have people listen to it, like to get people who listen to it and then who also want to see it live, is still I'm still kind of getting my head wrapped around that. It's kind of a crazy blessing. It's really quite nice, because I mean, probably only like 1/10 of everything I make sees the light of day, if that. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. So in terms of performing, I just feel like I owed it to people who were supporting my music, who wanted to see me play. I'm like, well, I gotta do it now because I'm being invited to. So
That is true. Like, when you start creating your stuff, I mean, we get, you know, as an artist, you kind of go, I'm just going to put this out there in the world. I'm just going to take it and just going to throw it out there and see what happens. You know, sometimes a track gets a lot of love, sometimes it doesn't. But, you know, I think it's how you continue on that journey is what's important. Because there's some artists that just, you know, they'll throw something out there and like, nobody cares about it. I'm just going to give up. But then there are artists out there that throw it out there, and it may not pick up, or it may not, you know, get a lot of love, but they kind of, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep putting it out there, because I have this inherent need inside of myself to share what I have with the world. So it's really great to see that you are getting your music out to the world, and you are just letting it go, and people are interpreting it in different ways. And like you were saying earlier in the interview, like you were talking about how people who didn't have the same first language as say you, loving your music in different areas, like people who may not speak the same language as you, really finding that love with what you put out. And it's great to see that. A lot of artists sometimes have this inner turmoil inside where they kind of go like, is my stuff really going to be good enough? Like, should I even put it out there in the world? Like, how are people going to interpret it? It's not even about that. It's just about how you feel and what you want to share with everybody. And at the end of the day, that's what's important.
yeah, you put it so much better than I could. Like, it's I mean, we have this capability to share. So if you're making something, why not share it? It's the best way to be able to move on from something that you're stuck on, and you don't have to love everything by the time it's out there. Sometimes you need to release something to let it go and move on to the next thing, because it is about exploring and having fun. And I don't think a lot of people get into this because they think they're going to get rich and be famous or any of that. I think it comes from people who absolutely thrive on a stage, and that's the main part of music for them. Others who would rather just hide away, like locked in the attic, and just compose and never show anybody. But I think also behind those two types, again, there's that drive that doesn't come from that idea of success or fame. There's some other creative force that's pushing it.
Yeah, and then you put it out, and then it gets a lot of love, gets a lot of recognition, and then all of a sudden people say, hey, I want to see you perform live. I want you to see a live show. And then you go, oh, there comes the butterflies, because now I'm going to get up there. Now I'm going to get up there and I'm going to share what I have in a live setting with everyone, with people, with eyes on me watching. I get to see those eyes watching me. How do I deal with that? When you first started performing live, how did you deal with that?
I mean, lots of deep breathing, which doesn't really help that much. I mean, you just kind of have to make peace with the fact that you've done all that you could have done to prepare, and that at least for me, I always remind myself, like, okay, this is only my second show or third show or fourth show or whatever it is. You just kind of have to trust that you are going to be your own worst critic. And half the time, if you make a mistake, people either won't notice or they'll forgive you. Nobody's gonna like completely stop listening to your music who wants to be there because you hit the wrong key for a part of the song, which like feels devastating when you do it, but you're like, this doesn't matter. Like 90% of the show was good. Come on. So it's but I think I think in a weird way it must be reassuring for fans with like electronic music when you hear those mistakes, because you're like, oh, they're not just playing back the track for me. Good. So
yeah, like they are putting that effort into it. They are, pouring their heart out on stage because they are working for it, and I know when, as a singer, when you go out on stage, kind of go like, some people go, oh man, you just look so like natural, like somebody just hands you a mic and you're good to go. No. I say that, trust in my abilities, trust in my skills, and work hard when you get out there. Like, say those things before you go out and get up on stage, and you will do great. You just have to let go and let it in. Just let it happen.
Mm-hmm. I definitely try to transport myself back into the space where I write and where I record a lot, and just be like, listen, you've sung this like 9 million times. Just pretend that you're at home and there's like light streaming in and your cat's walking around, and also this is going to be over in like 30 minutes to an hour. So just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. What are you looking forward to accomplishing the most moving forward?
Well, if we're talking about in my entire life, I'm looking forward to kind of being able to survive, like income-wise, off of doing something that I really love. So whether that's a combination of music things and maybe something that's a little bit more in touch with like gardening. I know it sounds so funny. That's like my secret passion. I don't know. I think it's just about, in Let's, I talk a lot of shit about the idea of like what you do with your money and what sort of value systems you are a part of, and what ultimately not just what you're doing with your money, but what you're doing with your skills and like your body and all of these things. So I think if I can move towards just kind of getting to that place where you're not working for somebody else, for someone else's interests, for a web of interests that aren't necessarily your own, that would be amazing. That would be like I would be like self-actualized at that point. But I mean, that's a really lofty goal. It probably is a little bit utopian. I'm not, I know I'm always going to be forever tied to a lot of things, but just taking a little bit more responsibility would be great. So, anytime you support an artist who has some pretty angsty things to say, you're helping out. Because one of my taglines on Instagram for a long time was just synth pop to quit your job to. So if I could quit my job because of it, that would be awesome. But at the same time, if I can make synth pop and have a pretty good garden, I'll be happy.
That's great. I'm going to have to see that garden sometime. You're going to have to post those pictures online so you can see that garden. I'm sure it's freaking awesome. But yeah, I know, it's freedom. I think at the end of the day, all of us are working towards freedom, having freedom. And when I say freedom, it's working towards your goals and no one else's, you being in charge of your own life, and you being completely 100%, self-sufficient. Not having to worry or work for somebody else's goals except for your own, just working for you. That's what's important. Everybody out there, take those in. Those are some really good words there. And I really do love that quote. Synth pop music to quit your job to. I think that's a really, really good quote. I think that will literally sound off with a lot of people. That'll really resonate with them. I'll tell you that.
I hope so. I mean, I've had a few people message me and be like, you made me do it. I quit my job. So I don't know. I really hope it works out for them. But yeah, it's just about kind of, give yourself a little shake, just check in, and try your best to, do what you want to do. I know it's not easy. And I'm still here living in a major city in a tiny apartment, and it's really easy to feel like you're constantly working and doing a lot just to stay where you are. So again, it's just, you said it, it's just about trying to get some of that freedom.
Some of that freedom, you're exactly right. It's we're on this path where we're working towards, finally branching off and going a different direction. But with everything going on right now, it's kind of reassessing your situation at the moment and kind of putting a few things on hold, but not forgetting that main goal that you want. So people out there, don't forget that main goal. Especially right now, I know it's kind of crazy. A lot of people who are still working, don't forget your goals. Don't forget your dreams, because when we are going into this new normalcy that we are now, you will be able to get on that path again. We are kind of in an emergency situation, but we are going to get there again. What positive message would you give your fans out there?
Ooh, I feel like this is a really good segue from this last point. I guess right now, where most of us are kind of trapped in our apartments and going out very, very little. I would say that, and I know this is going to sound like a very Tumblr quote thing to say, but just take the time to appreciate little things that are beautiful, even just in your room that you probably wouldn't normally pay attention to. Now that the seasons are changing here, lights coming in differently through the apartment, so there's always these little parts that lighten up for a very short time per day that I'm oh, I never noticed that. So just take the time to find even the little tiny things that you find are beautiful. And also, I think there's a huge amount of pressure that people feel like they need to be super productive during this time. That it's, for some people, it's like a forced vacation or layoff, and that they need to be working and hustling and doing everything. And I think if you are one of those people that isn't working, or you're not working as much, again, just take the time to kind of take a mental inventory, because I think we're just so used to a certain regimen where we aren't really checking in with what we want. And so yeah, just pay attention to yourself. And and again, like, now is a great time to just observe observe the plants and animals that are popping out. There's a lot more happening in the like alleyways or little laneways, wherever you live, or in your backyard if you're lucky enough to have a backyard. Yeah, get to know what's growing, learn how to identify weird weeds.
I love that. I love that. You do have that green thumb, which is amazing. So here in Signal Hill, like, with this giant hill, but like on the hill, there are all types of like plant animal life, all on the hill that you can see. And right now, I think it is really important that we dive into our backyards, dive into our little areas of nature, and just kind of enjoy that. Enjoy the little things, those little nuances that we tend to forget a lot. Because every day that we have spent going to work and going about our routines every single day, that's all been halted right now. A lot of it's been halted, and we are in this area where I like to say the great pause. Kind of paused right now, and things have slowed down. And nature out there has been thriving, is really thriving. You see a lot of butterflies, you see especially here on the hill, you see a lot of butterflies, you see flowers blooming, you see little lizards rocking around, you see, like, even at nighttime, you see the skunks, you see the raccoons and all that just kind of traipsing around, because there's no cars, there's no, everybody's just kind of staying home. So every little animal out there is kind of doing their own little thing with all this less traffic. So everybody out there, explore. Listen to Haley here. Explore your backyards. Explore the things going on around you, because it is really important, because you may not get these chances again.
And also, on that note, you can also invite them. So if you've never put out like a little like a bird feeder, or like a bird bath, even a bee bath is great. Just change water in a bowl outside with some, like, a little leaf floating in it, or some rocks. Again, like, just if you need something to do, like, one of the best things you can do is just encourage some wildlife to come hang out at your place. Like, we live downtown, and I would never expect to see some of the, like, animals and insects and like butterflies and stuff that we've ended up with on our patio. So again, it's like a fun little activity. You can get some little friends.
It really is. It really is, with your new little nature friends. We get hummingbirds. We get some hummingbirds here. We also get, like, there's a squirrel. There is a squirrel that comes by. Okay, he does come by. He or she. I like to think of him as a he, but he did come by. We leave little almonds out for him. He comes and visits the cats. The cats, get to, because they're indoor cats. We have this big giant window, and they get to kind of sit there and look outside and just kind of like watch the squirrel do his thing. And the other day, we had a lizard here in the patio, and the entire day it was the talk of the town for the cats. Cats just it was like the biggest thing in the entire world to them, seeing this little lizard, tracking it through the patio. It was great. But yeah, important. Let your nature friends come and visit you, because you will see some pretty amazing things.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for taking this time to sit with us, Haley. Thank you to everybody for tuning in today and watching us have this conversation. To everybody out there, if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the Fiend YouTube channel, as we have way more interviews on the way. Great ones, just like this one today. Be sure to check out Mecha Maiko and her amazing music. Be sure to check out her new music video for phones right now. It is great. And to everybody out there, dream it, build it, and let it grow. Thank you so much, Haley.
Oh, thank you. That was so sweet.
I look forward to seeing you again next time.
Thank you. I hope so. I really want to be able to come to LA this year, but probably not at all.
Well, you know what? We'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. We would love to get you back, get you out here to LA and have you play some live shows, because I think people will really be chomping at the bit once we kind of transition into this new normal again. People will definitely be wanting to come out to shows. People are going to want to see artists and things like that. So we got to get you out here, do some events with us with Future Daze, and we'll make things work. It'll be freaking amazing.
Beautiful. I would love it.
We look forward to it. All right. Well, you have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, you too.
All right. See you soon.